Hello people.
Hello, it's Dan again, and today I'm here with Ricardo Sforza.
Yay!
Close?
Good.
Good. And I met him here in Buenos Aires, and really love to see that he builds his own cameras, kind of like I do, except his are much better than mine. So, oh yeah, they are. You've never even seen one that I built. Mine are quite bad.
I'm at a disadvantage, see?
True. I'll send you photos someday.
Send me a camera, one of yours.
I'll do that.
Yeah, with one of those big expensive lenses I have.
I don't know about the lenses. But I thought it would be cool to make a video kind of showcasing some of the cameras that Ricardo has built. And so let's start with your latest, the twin lens reflex.
Alright.
Yeah, so tell us about it.
You take a normal TLR. There you go. You take a normal TLR. This one's taken apart just to show the customers, but anyway. And you cut it. And then you put a supplement, a metal supplement, and you stretch it out. And instead of being a 6x6 camera, you get just about any size you want because you've stretched it out. Since I'm a big fan of medium format, this one is 6x7. And it takes interchangeable lenses from the Mamiya C, the series lenses, the C220, the C330. You just pop them out, you just take them out of here. And the whole lens. There you go.
Ah, that's really cool. And so are these...
And then you can change the lenses for any other of the lenses, or any other lens that you have mounted in this type of fashion.
Sure.
So you can get two Hasselblad lenses if they would fit, for example. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
But you could get, if you had two dead Super Icantas with the f2.8 Tessars, you could make a mount and leave one open without the shutter, and the other one would have the shutter, and you could do that.
So are these fixed focus then? Because if I remember right, the C series from Mamiya are bellows focus.
Well, no. You use the mechanism of the regular focusing mechanism that.
So these were also with bellows for focus.
No, they don't have.
Oh, I see.
They have a very TLRs have a very limited travel. They have about at most 3/8 of an inch. That's 9 millimeters or something like that.
Should be enough.
So they have a very complicated cam system, but it works rather well. And most of them, I think 90% of TLRs have this double cam system, and they seem to work. I was afraid it wouldn't work because of the weight of the lenses, but no problem at all.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and put it back in again.
And so this entire setup, if I remember right, you said weighs about 1,300 grams?
Yes, I like lightweight cameras, lightweight medium format cameras.
Yeah.
The only thing that you can do with that is folders, because it's mostly cloth. You know, you have just the film part of the camera, and then the rest is just a door with a cloth bellows that comes out, which weighs nothing. So those are very light, but they are limited in the sense that they generally don't have interchangeable optics and whatever. And since I travel, I decided, and I like medium format.
Yeah, you do.
I said, how can I make a camera that is as good as my Super Icontas, but I can change the lenses on it, for example.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
and I can't change the lenses on my Super Icontas. They're beautiful machines, but that's it. And maybe I don't like rangefinders. I want to see an image in the ground glass.
Right.
And so I started playing. And the real breaking point in this crazy story of mine of making cameras is that I bought myself a Polaroid 600 SE.
I love those cameras.
They're beautiful. But they're built like tanks. I think they planned for World War III, you know, what with the Cuban Missile Crisis and the Russians and the Western Bloc and whatever.
And 300 years from now, aliens will come down and find the ruins of our civilization, and all that will be left
Well,
is one perfectly intact
they'll
Polaroid
just dust it
600
off,
SE. Yeah.
put some Polaroid film in it, or
Yeah.
120 roll,
Yep.
and
Just
it'll work. And say,
Yeah.
yes, you see, these are the things. That's what it's
Yeah.
good for. I have no doubt that archaeologists 300 years from now, or the aliens, when they come to see our ruins, these machines will keep on working
Yes.
because they are ridiculously sturdy.
Yeah.
What were they thinking of when they designed them? I have no idea. I mean, it's not a tank. It's supposed to be something portable. The great thing about it is that in Japan, I've heard that they use it for social work, for weddings and bar mitzvahs and whatever.
Still, to this day?
Probably. I don't know.
Okay.
The digital revolution probably has made it. Up to 2010, I knew that it was so.
Huh.
I started with this in 2012, and I started taking the Polaroid 600 SE all over the place, and I like wide-angle lenses. And then the wide-angle lens is this thing over here,
Yeah.
which weighs 660 grams all by itself.
Yes.
Plus the rest of the Polaroid, which is the same as a Mamiya Universal Press
Right.
23. In total, it weighs 2.7 kilograms. That's 7 pounds of camera hanging from your shoulder, going from there. How the Japanese managed to do that in a wedding, where you have to be fast because you got to catch the moment of the couple dancing or all the other instantaneous events in a wedding.
Yeah.
So how they managed that, I have no idea. But at any rate, it was just too heavy for my shoulder. And then I found myself, I like to do street photography.
Yeah.
And every time I pulled the camera out, the whole neighborhood was on to the fact that I was going to take a. It's a shoebox, that weighs 7 pounds.
Yeah.
And I took very good photographs with it, but it was just too heavy. It was just ungainly. People were on to me that I was taking a photograph, so instead of being calm and chatting,
Yes.
1900s rigid. All they needed, all that was lacking was the braces on the necks, to keep them still.
Right. Well, and that's one of the great things about having a waist level viewfinder.
Yes.
Yeah, because when you're looking down at the camera, there's a lot less inclination for people to tense
besides,
up.
you can go sideways.
Yes. Oh, and sideways. Yeah.
But it goes sideways like that, and then people think that you're some kind of crazy nut just looking at shoes or whatever.
So they don't tense up at all. It's a very subtle sort of thing.
This one weighs 1.3 kilograms.
Yep.
I don't know how much the Mamiya C220 weighs. I understand it's lighter than the C330.
Is it?
The C330 weighs 1.7 kilograms.
Yes.
That's about almost a pound and a half more.
Yeah, that was the first medium format camera I ever owned, was a C330.
Well, you had good taste.
I'd like to think so, but
An intelligent man.
a lot of people would disagree with that one. All right, and so since that one is only 1,300 grams, I thought I would bring one of my cameras for comparison.
Woohoo.
Yeah, here we have my beloved
marvelous
Mamiya 7.
It's absolutely beautiful.
It is a beautiful camera, but when I came in the other day, we put this on your neighbor's scale, and the Mamiya 7 with the 43mm lens weighs 1,500 grams. So this camera, despite being made of metal, this one's plastic. It feels very plasticky. It's the biggest complaint anybody has about the...
Well, nobody's complaining about that. It's a marvelous machine.
If you look online, there are a lot of people complaining about
really
the plastic. Yeah, because the body feels, plastic.
But does it break? Does it twist and get out of...
I guess it depends on what I hit with it.
Yeah, or don't put it near a stove.
Yeah, or by a stove. Where this camera is made of metal.
Really, it's not a camera. It's a personal defense weapon.
There you go. Oh, and we should also mention, this is not the final finish for the camera. This is your flocking that you're using for testing the light seals, right?
Right, yes.
Yeah. So the final look will be a lot more similar to...
Well, it'll be done to the taste of the customer.
Oh, okay.
It'll be, this is leatherette, but the camera will be upholstered or covered in real leather. Whatever, if they want black or they want alligator or they want lizard or whatever, it'll be done in that fashion.
Right.
So
yeah, it would probably be a good time to mention you're planning to commercialize this camera.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have a several of these DLRs. I'll just take them apart. It's a rather complicated process. You have to basically start with a complete camera like yours,
yes.
you know, and then open it up, and then take all of these little things, screws, springs, whatever, just strip it down to the bare bones.
Yeah, and that takes a while.
It takes a while. I'm getting good at it. I have a pair of pliers. I just go, blah.
So you just at some point give up on doing it the delicate.
Well, a lot of this stuff is not used.
Right.
Okay. It loses a couple of.
Yeah, like the gears for the frame counter.
I would have to make new gears and everything like that.
Yeah.
Because and then the price would skyrocket, and I want to keep that to a moderate level.
Mm-hmm. Right. And have you figured out pricing yet that you're going to?
Well, I'm trying to keep it around $500–600.
Okay.
With a simple lens, with the lens that the camera comes with. In this case, it will come with the Yashinon, and this is a Yashica. It will come with the Yashinon lens, which you could take out and then put out any of the Mamiya C series lenses on it. That's the idea. Let's see how it goes. So far.
Yeah. So you're also fabricating a Mamiya C330 mount then for the Yashica lenses.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So that's
yes. I don't plan to commercialize that, sell that, but I'll have to do that in order for the Mamiya C standard lens to just put in. This is supposed to be a very easy function. You know, it's not a 2-day affair which you have to take half the mechanism apart. It's just take the lens out, like I did it a while ago.
Yeah, that was.
Just do it like this.
Yeah, very fast. Just a couple of thumb screws.
A couple of thumb screws, and everything comes out like you do on the almost as good as you do on the
C330
on the C cameras.
When I used to shoot with,
I was
I used the Mamiya RB67 for a long time, and that has a guard in it, so you can't take a photo with the dark slide in.
Oh.
Yeah, when you pull the dark slide, it unlocks the shutter. But because I had that for so long, I got lazy about it. And when I switched to a different camera that didn't have the same protection for the dark slide, one of my friends has started calling me Dark Slide Dan.
Because all the photos?
Not all the photos, but there would be a surprising number of photos that I thought I'd taken.
And then the dark slide.
Then 2 minutes later, I was swearing and carrying my tripod back to where I was because I realized that the dark slide had been in. So. Anyway, speaking of dark slides, this is another one of your cameras. This one I think you said was a little older.
This one's the first one.
Yep.
Well, it's not the first one, but at any rate, it was the first of this series of Delirious Tremens Photographicus.
Will that be your camera company's name? Delirium Tremens?
Yeah, that'd be good. No, from the Polaroid 600 SE, I decided to make something smaller, lighter, so I could take it to my travels, you know. And I put a Graflex back on it. I made an aluminum body for it, and then the bayonet for all the Polaroid 600 SE lenses, and then a viewfinder because it's a very wide angle.
Yes.
So it's very light. It weighs also 1.3 kilograms, mainly because the film back is made out of bakelite and very thin metal.
Yes. I love those backs, but you like them less. But
I like them less because this one, I don't know if I had that luck with it, but I read that it has severe focal plane.
Right, film flatness.
Film flatness problems, yes. And here is the little friend that we were talking about.
Yep.
This is the dark slide.
Yes, that is the dark slide.
Just watch a 6x9. That's 645. That's 6x6. This is 6x7. Yay, over here 6x9. I mean, you know,
it's a beautiful negative.
If you trip somewhere, you could fall in and see.
It's such a beautiful negative.
It's huge.
Yeah, and there's a company in the U.S. that processes black and white film to transparencies, kind of like, why am I drawing blank? I think it was an Agfa film that was processed to transparency. Anyway, so it makes slides from your black and white. And looking at a 6x9 slide on a light table, it's just a beautiful experience.
I want to do... So it's 1.3 kilograms instead of 2.7, slightly less than half. And I could, well, this one doesn't have, this one has a hand grip like this.
Yeah, it actually feels really good holding it with that grip.
if you put a neck strap on it, I could have it on here, have my jacket or a coat or whatever, and just calculate. I make it, put the thing, the adjustments on the lens. Take a look, I go back.
Yep.
That's it. Nobody knew I took a photo. And a 6x9 at that.
That's not what I would think of as a spy camera normally, but I like it though.
And 3 pounds lighter or 3.5 pounds when you're traveling and you got 40 pounds maximum on your suitcase or a backpack and you're trekking. It makes a difference. You can put another lens on it. You can carry it. That 1.3 pounds, kilograms, translates into more film, another lens, whatever. Another camera.
Yeah, I spent.
You can take both, 1.3 and 1.3, and I'm still short of the RB260, the RB67.
Yeah, and I traveled for maybe 2 or 3 years with an RB67, and I'm pretty sure that when I'm on my deathbed, or I'll go in at some point for some medical procedure, and the doctor will ask what happened to all the bones in this part, because
heavy wear.
Yeah, exactly. It's been worn out by backpacks with the RB in it, and also with a lighter camera, we should add, you can use a lighter tripod as well, and still be fairly secure. Because with the RB67, if I used a flimsy plastic tripod, you could see the legs bowing underneath the weight of the camera, and just the slightest
wind gust.
Yeah, like slightly brushing the camera, and it felt like it was gonna.
Your marvelous panoramics of Mount Everest will be moved.
Yes. So, with lighter cameras, you can get away with little plastic tripods, or even a gorilla pod in some cases, which is also really nice if you're doing landscapes and want to, put on like a neutral density filter to give yourself very long exposures.
Right. And then talking about light,
yes.
This is the lightest one of them all. It's a 6x7. This one I did everything except the lens. The lens is the bottom lens of RB C330.
Ah, cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have to take one of these lenses. You take it apart, and you use only this part here.
Yes.
And then you mount it again. And this artifact that you can take out, and you can change lenses.
Sure.
You would also lose the frame here, but you could use a wide-angle lens and a tele when you're traveling.
Like I said, the engineering to keep from losing a frame is.
This has very high technology in its construction. As a matter of fact, just to give you an example, the helicoid here.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that.
It's made out of. Well, I was thinking, how do I make the helicoid?
Yeah, that's always been a problem for me.
So I went by this dumpster that had these water pipes, these PVC water pipes, and I said, perfect. And here we are. I did paint them gold, but
so that is a PVC water pipe.
It's a piece of PVC water pipe taken out of a dumpster.
I'm gonna steal that idea from you because.
See, I knew I had to patent it.
Yes, exactly.
Water pipes for in dumpsters.
Even if you buy them, they're only a couple dollars.
They're easy to work with.
Yeah.
To experiment, they go plastic first.
Right. And
then you do what you have done in metal or whatever the other material you want to do.
Yeah.
But to experiment and to start off with, with something that is soft, rigid, reasonably rigid to achieve your goals, your ideas, and then you can work easily and faster.
Yeah.
This is something I learned later in life. Unfortunately.
So, are the water pipes themselves light tight, or did you also?
Yes, it's got a double baffle inside.
So you put a double baffle.
Yeah. They're not light tight. The light won't go through them. Depends. If they're white, yes, and if they're thin,
yeah, they'll just let the light through the sides. But you're saying they are light tight in terms of the path going through.
Well, this is a 6x7. Well, okay, I put a focusing scale here. This is the marker, so you go like this, and you know if you're wherever it is.
That's
this
awesome.
is by eye. You measure from here to there. It's 2 meters. Okay, I put it on 2 meters. Stop.
Yeah.
And 860 grams.
860 grams.
It's less than 2 pounds.
Yeah.
It's a 6x7.
That is so cool.
Yeah. It only took 4 rolls of film.
Yeah.
I only used it, and I said, okay, I know where I want to go now. And then I went crazy for 2 years with a similar project. But one day I'm going to come back to this and make this body out of aluminum instead of metal and stuff like that, because it's going. It really, really is a very little camera, very light.
Yeah. And so, are you thinking
it's
about?
It's a pleasure to use. I tell you, it looks like a small. It looks like a normal rangefinder 35 millimeter, but it's a 6x7.
Yeah, and again, very comfortable to hold. And then you could, I'm assuming, just take a cable release and maybe stick it on the side here, so you can have like a thumb to release or a finger release.
Yes.
So I thought we'd recorded the whole thing. We talked for about an hour, maybe even a little more than an hour, and it turns out my camera stops recording at 30 minutes. So he's taking a photo of the man who took a bunch of his time. There'll be enemy or something written on the photo. Okay, so just to cover again, how do people get a hold of you? Where do they find you?
Well, you come to Buenos Aires. This is a nice city.
It is. It's a beautiful city.
And then you go to the San Telmo district, which is the oldest part, the old part of the downtown district. That's where Buenos Aires was founded about 400 years ago. And in San Telmo, this is a street called Defensa. And in Defensa, 845, there's an old movie theater that has been converted into a mall. And that's where I am. That's where you're going to find me Sundays. Sometimes during the week also, but Sundays I am here.
I didn't realize this was a movie theater.
Yes, as a matter of fact, the sliding, that big white thing, that square on the roof, that was a sliding roof. There was no air conditioning in those days. And in the middle of this movie, with good weather, they would open the roof, and that roof has, I don't know, like 6 meters by 20 meters or 30 meters long. It's a big chunk of the roof that slides off, and then that would be natural air conditioning, and all the hot air would just go out.
So that's where they can find you. I'll also put your email address down in the description of the video.
Right.
And otherwise, yeah, thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure meeting you and talking to you.
You have to come here more often.
Yeah, well, this is my first time in Buenos Aires, but I'm sure I'll be back because, yeah, it's a really beautiful city, and people here have been really friendly, and I love any city that has like a lot of green space, like a lot of parks and trees on the streets, and yeah, they definitely have that here. Oh, and the food. The food
yes.
is delicious here.
If you're a meat eater, you'll have fun here.
Yeah, and I'm already kind of chubby. Pretty sure that if
you're in shape.
No, you're too kind. But if I lived here, like I'd be enormous. So maybe it's better that I'm only here for a little while this time. Yeah, thank you again.